Hi, it's Catherine here from Inky Fingered Cat. I am insane. It's that simple. I love the challenge that Martin does every year for 30 days of Christmas card making. There's a Facebook group. He shares everything on Instagram. I tried to join in. Don't usually manage to do all of them. I think I did manage to do all of them one year, but yeah, I don't think it'll happen this year. But it started today, and well, it starts on the 1st of November. I'm filming this a bit in advance because it's a bit manic at work at the moment. But, so yeah, it'll have started today with the day that this goes up, which is the 1st of November. And the first theme is Merry and Bright Beginnings. And I thought it was a good opportunity to use this Winter Birdie stencil and die kit that I haven't used. It's been in my stash for several months and I've just never got around to using it. And to be honest, I should have looked up what all the pieces did, etc. before I started this, but you know me, I just plunge in, get on with it. So I've die cut all the pieces. Turns out I didn't need them all. I just needed the 4 birds and the branch, but you know, the other bits are, you've got beaks, so you can do those separately, or you've got the sort of like garland type element. I don't end up using those. And then there's two of the hats that you get again. I did end up using those on the inside of the card, but yeah, I just didn't quite realise what all those pieces were for. So I've die cut them out of white cardstock. I am now using the stencils. So there's 2 stencils, but they've each got like 3 or 4 parts to them, to be able to put in the different colours, and then to do the branch, including some snow. I think that's all it does, something along those lines. Anyway, I just grabbed my blending brushes, and to be honest, until the final bit of these birds, I hadn't used any new ink. I just used the ink that was on them because I wanted it to be kind of pastel-y, pinks and purples and blues. And part of the reason for that is because the other day I was looking through my sets of ready-made like die cuts and sentiments and stuff. There's quite a lot of purple ones, so I thought, well, let's go with that as the colour. That was the thinking behind this. There was no other thinking. So at this point I have pulled in the black soot and the milled lavender just to do the final 2 pieces of the birds, and then I'm going to grab some vintage photo for the branch, and then I do add in, just to put a little bit of difference to it, a little bit of early espresso just in a couple of places where I think the birds will be sitting. To be honest, can you tell that on the final card? No, of course you can't. Now, the final element on those branches is to put some little snow bits. And I did contemplate using the stencil to do this, but then I decided just to use my stickles. Of course, doing stickles when you're halfway through making a card is a bit mad, because now you have to let it dry and not touch it and all the rest of it. I managed to do it, but, you know, bit touch and go in places. So I am being good and I'm tidying up a little bit. Partly to let that stickles dry just a tad, but I do have a little moment of just tidying up. The day I am filming this, I have cleared my desk 3 times by this point in this day, because I know I've got a manic week ahead at work and I just didn't want to have to come into this room and see an absolute tip. So I do keep trying to tidy up and keep on top of the mess in between projects. Yeah. So I've got this piece of, it is Kingston Crafts cardstock. It's from their, I'm going to say it's from the pastel cardstock, but because it's a scrap of it, I'm not entirely sure now. But yeah, I think it's from that. And I have cut myself like a DL type card. It's a little bit smaller than a normal DL card, but it's about the same. And a panel to go on the front. So the panel, I decide I'm going to do some embossing to add that little bit of texture to it. So I choose this sort of like knit type, yeah, design. And I'm ruffling up the edges. At first I use my fingernails, that doesn't work. Then I use the bone thread, that doesn't work. So I use the edge of the scissors and that works perfectly. And that just gives it a little bit of texture. And then I brought the branch in just to work out, right, where do I want the inking? And I decide it's on that bit where I'm going to put the branch. And then I'm just using the milled lavender. It goes on quite dark, but it dries off, so it's not too bad, in order to just add a little bit of depth of colour there. I did add a little bit of splatter in just with my my paintbrush there, and a bit of water with the ink. And then I let that dry. No, I didn't let it dry. I used my heat tool to dry it. I just had a little pause there because I remember I was talking to my daughter at the time. And then I think, right, well, I will add some splatter later on as well. So I've been and grabbed one of those sentiments that happens to be totally and utterly perfect for the challenge. Remember, it was Merry and Bright Beginnings. So the sentiment Merry and Bright is perfect. And it's on purple, so it goes perfectly with the colour scheme of this card. So I have glued my little branch down, and now my little birds are going to go all on the adhesive foam. I have used the purple adhesive foam, which has come from Kingston Crafts, and I do add little dots of glue onto each of the adhesive foam, not because it needs it for the stick point of view, but it just gives me the wiggle room and allows me to just adjust the bird if I don't get it in the right place. I don't think I needed to adjust any of these, but you know when you're just like, I'm being cautious, let's be cautious. So I've stuck all 4 birds down. Aren't they the cutest? Clearly they are fictional birds. They are not birds that exist in real life with those interesting colours I've chosen. And now I'm doing the same with the sentiment, which I did have to wriggle around. So I was pleased I had done the little bit of glue on the bottom of each of the glue dots. Okay, so now I have got out the Kingston Shimmer Spray, but I am not going to use the spray. I am just going to dip my paintbrush into the jar, which I have shaken to activate all the mica. That's one from the Christmas set of spritzes, which at the time of recording this is not available. So that's a little sneak peek that there is one that's got I think it says something like Shimmer Lights or something like that. It's basically a silvery white colour with the mica, and then I glue my panel in place. Now this is my insert, and at first I was going to do one of the little birds just to add him as a stencil design in the corner, but it doesn't work out very well. So that's a spoiler alert. This does not look great, mainly because I firstly get ink over the corner of the stencil on the left hand side, but I decided, I could probably live with that. And then I go and I start adding in some black line art, and it looks really naff. So there you go. Yeah, that goes in the bin. So instead I just take this scrap of white card that I'd originally thought was going to be on the front of the card and add that onto the inside, which I do badly, so it has to come up and go back down again. And then you remember those extra die cuts? Well, I just decided to colour my little die cut hats in, using my pro markers to just colour them in. Yeah, and then I just add those to the inside of the card in the most ridiculous of ways, because for some reason I put my glue down in totally the wrong place, totally the wrong shape. Yeah, I had a moment. I was probably tired by this point. So there's my finished card. Whoa, it looks different in that light, doesn't it? So it does look more blue in real light than in the colour on my desk. But a really pretty card, and I'm really pleased that I finally got round to using these birds. They're so cute. Please do subscribe to see future videos like this. Leave me a comment below. I will now remember to go and try and link Martin's challenge in the description box below. Until next time, bye bye.